During today's training, we'll cover a quick recap of OnBoard and the rollout of each phase. Next, we'll go over registration and administration information and where to find instructions on the website. The main part of the webinar is accessing OnBoard and how to navigate the system for a PAR review. We will specifically go over the medication PAR process today. The webinar will end with showing you the training resources available on the website and what's coming next. OnBoard Limited Release has digitized and streamlined various PAR processes, including MTG confirmations, MTG variances, MTG special services, and non-MTGs over $1,000. OnBoard introduces new PARs that can be submitted. Medication PARs in this system will replace the current drug formulary prior authorization request process. It will add durable medical equipment PARs and non-MTGs under or equal to $1,000. OnBoard Limited Release is being rolled out in 3 phases. The first phase, which we are training today, includes medication PARs. Please note, Phase 1 includes medical marijuana request done via a medication PAR in OnBoard. Phase 2 will introduce durable medical equipment submissions to OnBoard on April 4th, 2022. Lastly, Phase 3 will introduce the remaining PAR submissions for treatment and testing. Treatment and testing will include MTG confirmation, MTG special services, MTG variances, non-MTGs over $1,000, and non-MTGs under or equal to $1,000 on May 2nd, 2022. The payer, insurer, self-insured entities, or third-party administrator. Access is granted using organizational profiles based on eClaims trading partner information. The payer is ultimately responsible for the review of PARs. Medical review organization. A payer may designate a medical review organization to review their PARs. Pharmacy benefit manager. PBMs may be designated by the payer to review level 1 medication PARs. Complete registration details and instructions are available on the medical portal web pages. Payer administration for OnBoard includes setting up all of the review roles in the system. These roles include the Payer Online User Administrator, the Workload Administrator, the Level 1 Reviewer, and the Level 2 Reviewer. Payer Online User Administrators should verify they have designated notification emails for every PAR type and level in their medical portal administration application. Visit the medical portal webpage to view information about each role in this system and how to assign these roles for system use. Before we dive into the system, let's quickly go through what's included in Phase 1 of OnBoard Limited Release. As you know, Phase 1 will solely be used for medication PAR responses. Phase 2 and 3 will introduce the remaining PAR types. It's important to note that the current drug formulary application within the medical portal will not be accessible as of 5 p.m. on Friday, March 4th, 2022, but will be available again as read-only on March 7th, 2022, so that previously approved medication requests may be reviewed. All prior authorization requests that are in progress as of 5 p.m. on March 4th, 2022, will be suspended and converted to a medication PAR within OnBoard Limited Release. Processing will continue in OBLR as of 7 a.m. on Monday, March 7th, 2022. Refills and renewals of prescription medications must comply with the drug formulary as of March 7th, 2022. When the OBLR medication PAR process takes effect, as communicated in subject number 046-1408, The effective dates were previously amended to coincide with the launch of OnBoard Limited Release. To begin, let's show you how you'll access OnBoard Limited Release through the medical portal. OnBoard Limited Release is accessed through the board's medical portal. If you're not registered for the medical portal, view the medical portal access and administration web pages on the board's website. Locate the online services drop-down list on the right. Select the down arrow to display the list of services and select Medical Portal, then select Login. Enter your medical portal, NewYork.gov ID, and password. On the medical portal homepage, you will notice an OnBoard logo displayed next to Prior Authorization Request, PAR. This link will take you to your OnBoard dashboard. The drug formulary prior authorization link will only be used to view previous requests. All in-flight requests will be transferred to OnBoard Limited Release to be completed. All prior authorization requests are now done using the prior authorization request PAR link. The dashboard walkthrough will show you all areas of OnBoard Limited Release. There are some differences between a workload administrator's dashboard and a level 1 or level 2 reviewer's dashboard. These differences will be noted directly. The home screen for OnBoard is a view of My Dashboard, which will allow you to access all active prior authorization requests submitted to your organization, along with drafted, submitted, and resolved PARs if you are a designated reviewer. The default view for a workload administrator is My Organization's PARs, which is used by the workload administrator to assign and monitor the review of PARs. The My Dashboard link in the navigation menu will take you to this home screen. All PARs requiring review will appear on the My Organization's PARs tab for the workload administrator to assign to the requested level of review. The dashboard defaults to sort by due date and unassigned so that it is easy to identify PARs that are due and haven't been assigned for review. The PAR row will be bold for new PARs or if the status of a PAR has changed since the last time you logged in. Check the box next to the PAR you want to assign. You can assign multiple PARs by checking multiple checkboxes, or use the Select All box to select all PARs on that screen for assignment to a reviewer. After the row is selected, select the Assign button, which will appear above the table. A pop-up window will appear, which contains a drop-down list of level 1 or level 2 users that can be assigned a PAR. Use the drop-down list to select the user and then select the Assign button. Once the PAR is assigned, the assigned user column will update with the assigned level 1 or level 2 reviewer. The PAR will remain in the workload administrator's My Organization PARs queue. To reassign a PAR to a different user, follow the same process. Instead of seeing My Organization's PARs, level 1 and level 2 reviewers will see My PARs. This shows all active PARs that have been assigned to them from the workload administrator. Workload administrators who have a reviewer role will also have a My PARs tab. All PARs assigned to the workload administrator for review will appear on this tab. Workload administrators should process any PARs they assign to themselves from the My PARs tab. The only way workload administrators will be notified of resolution for PARs they review is if they first assign it to themselves, so they become the level 1 reviewer for that PAR. The My Downloads menu link lets you view documents that were downloaded in the last 24 hours. Use the My Profile drop-down menu to select either My Account, My Organizations, or Log Out. Select My Account to add or edit your phone number and manage your notification preferences. Notification preferences alert a user by email or text message when a new item has been added to the dashboard. To receive text message notifications, the phone type must be set to mobile. Select Save after any changes are made. My Organizations will show each organization you are associated with. The organization's type, name, and start date are listed, as well as your role with the organization. If you select the link for the name of the organization, additional details will show. In the lower section, you can view your organization's address. Selecting Log Out will log you out of your account. This will only exit the onboard application. You will not log out of the medical portal. If you have completed your medical portal session, it is highly recommended that you log out of the medical portal and then close out of your browser entirely. This will ensure you have signed out. If multiple users are using the same PC, this is recommended between each user's session prior to the next user signing in. The dashboard will give you detailed information about the status of all PAR requests for which you have been designated as a workload administrator, or PARs you have been assigned for review. You can sort the columns on the dashboard using the up-down arrows in each column. You can also filter on some columns by selecting the filter button in the upper right corner. Select a column from the drop-down list and enter your filter criteria. Some filter options allow you to filter on just a few characters. Other fields, such as PAR ID, require the full ID. In addition to filtering your dashboard, you can export your My Organization's PARs or My PARs to a CSV file using the Export button. The export will include PARs from all pages of your dashboard within these tabs. For all users, the dashboard defaults to sort by due date and unassigned, so that it is easy to identify PARs that are due and haven't been assigned for review. The PAR row will be bold for new PARs or if the status of a PAR has changed since the last time you logged in. PAR ID, linked to detailed information on submitted PARs. Type, the type of PAR that was submitted. Due date is the date the payer needs to respond to the PAR. PAR status shows the level of review and the latest status. Examples of a PAR status on the My PAR tabs: L1, requested; L1, denied; L2, requested; L2, granted in part; L3, review requested; L3, review rejected. RFI, blank by default. If additional information is requested from the healthcare provider, this column will show sent. When the provider responds, the column will show Received. Assigned Organization will show the organization's name that has been assigned to respond to the PAR request. Assigned User will show the Level 1 or Level 2 reviewer that has been assigned a PAR review. Current Activity will update when the PAR status changes. PAR status date is the date the PAR entered its current status. The Resolve tab is a list of PARs the Workload Administrator or Level 1 or 2 reviewer has responded to from the My PARs tab. These are PARs that have received the final decision from the payer and cannot be escalated by the healthcare provider, or have received a decision from the board's medical director's office. For example, the PAR was granted or denied, and the time to escalate by the healthcare provider has passed. It is recommended that you check your Resolve tab daily for final PAR decisions. Examples of PAR status on the Resolve tab: L1, denied, final. L2, granted in part, final. L3, review requested, final. OOTC issued, granted. The Draft eForm tab will display any PAR responses that you have drafted but not yet submitted. Selecting Actions on a drafted eForms row will allow you to discard a draft to remove it from your drafted eForms queue. The Submitted eForms tab will display all submitted PAR responses that were submitted by the reviewer. When viewing a submitted eForm, select Actions in that eForm row to print or download the submitted eForm. PAR IDs are links in your dashboard to the PAR details page, where you can view all details associated with that PAR. All of the information contained within the PAR details page should be reviewed before responding to a PAR. Selecting from the list of links on the PAR details page will allow you to jump quickly to a specific section of the page. Related entities and users will provide the healthcare provider, payer, and claimant information associated to that PAR. On the Healthcare Providers tab, select the Healthcare Provider link to go to the Healthcare Provider's information page. In the Payer tab, select the Claim Sender link to go to that organization's information page. In the Associated Users section, you will be able to see all users within your organization that have access to the PAR along with their roles. The Actions button will allow you to add an associated user with the same role to allow them to access the PAR. Request details will provide all request and reviewer response information for that PAR. The example below shows a durable medical equipment PAR that was denied from the Level 1 and Level 2 reviewer. The reviewer's names and the date and time for each submitted review. The response details can be expanded at the bottom. The blue sections expand to show additional request details, Level 1 Insurer response details, and Level 2 Insurer response details. At the bottom of this section, additional PAR details can also be expanded for more information. The medical necessity section will show the statement of medical necessity entered in the text field during a PAR submission. If a statement of medical necessity is attached instead of entered by the provider, this section will be blank. To see the attached statement of medical necessity, go to the Documents section. The Documents section will update with new generated eForms created during the PAR process. Documents the provider may attach when submitting a PAR or responding to a request for information from the claim administrator will appear in this list, along with any documents attached by the claim administrator throughout the review process. If a PAR has been auto-escalated for a Level 2 review and the Level 2 reviewer bases their decision on a document that the Level 1 reviewer uploaded, the Level 2 reviewer will need to download that document from this document section and re-upload it to their PAR response. This ensures the document is transitioned to eCase as part of the Level 2 response. Related PARs will show any PAR that has been submitted on the same claim. Correspondence history will show correspondence between the provider and the claim administrator when there is a request for additional information. The comments column will show the details of the request. To view the full text, hover your mouse over the response text until a box with the full request details appears. After a response from the healthcare provider is submitted, the correspondence history section will update. The activity column will show a provider response submitted link. Select the link to show the response, which will include links to any documents that were attached to the response. If documents are attached, the checkbox in the supporting attachment column will be checked, and the documents will also appear in the Documents section. Let's navigate the process of responding to a medication prior authorization request sent by the healthcare provider. On the dashboard, the Prior Auth, My PARs tab will update with new prior authorization requests that have been assigned to a Level 1 reviewer. The PAR status column indicates the level of review needed. The due date column is the date the payer is required to respond. If the payer does not respond within the designated time frame, an order of the chair may be issued. View all PAR details by selecting the PAR ID link. Review all sections of the PAR details, including the request details and documents uploaded by the healthcare provider. Select the Actions button on the top right of the PAR details page to respond to the request or request additional information from the provider. If more information is needed from the provider in order to respond to the PAR, select Request for Further Information. The due date for the reviewer to respond to a PAR is not extended when there is a request for more information made, or if the request for more information never receives a response. Enter the additional information needed and select Submit. The RFI column in the My PARs queue will show Sent until the provider responds. To view the complete request for further information process, there is a dedicated training page available on the OnBoard web pages. This will take you through viewing a provider's response. Next, let's navigate the process of a Level 1 reviewer responding to a medication PAR. To issue a determination on the submitted PAR, select the Actions button at the top right of the PAR details page and select Respond to Request. On the Medication PAR Response eForm, select the Insurer Response drop-down list and select Grant, Grant in Part, or Deny. The required information varies based on the type of response selected. First, we will show a grant response. The question, is this request granted without prejudice, defaults to no. A grant without prejudice can only be yes for a Level 1 review if a denial, FROI or SROI denial, has been filed in the case and the controversy is still pending. You will need to complete the additional fields regarding the FROI denial/SROI denial. You can find the FROI denial/SROI denial date and the WCB document ID number in eCase. If the documents are not available in eCase, upload a copy in the supporting documentation portion of the eForm. You may enter additional rationale for granting without prejudice due to the claim being controverted in the text field. Next, we will show the details required if a grant in part is selected. Complete the required fields for the medication that is being granted in part. Select the Insurer Response Details button. Lastly, let's show the details required for a denial. After selecting Deny, additional form fields will show. Select the denial category from the drop-down list. Each denial category will present a different set of required information needed next. For this example, the denial category is medical reasons. More than one denial reason will be an option to select. Enter the rationale for the denial in the text box. After entering the details for the grant in part, or denial, claim apportionment information will be entered. The question, is this claim apportioned, defaults to no. If the claim is apportioned, select yes and answer the additional request fields. The claim apportionment information included as the PAR response from one payer applies to all, and the apportionment fields allows the insurer to inform the provider of how to bill properly. Select Upload to add supporting documentation to the PAR response. Enter the type of document from the Type drop-down list. Enter a description of the document being added. Select the Browse button to locate the file on your computer. Confirm the file is the correct file you want to upload. Select Upload. The attachment has now been added to the PAR response. If you selected yes to granted without prejudice for a grant or grants in part, and did not complete the fields regarding the FROI denial/SROI denial, you will be prompted to upload the corresponding required FROI denial and/or SROI denial forms. Review all of the PAR response details and select Submit. After the submission, a confirmation page will show the PAR was granted. You can print, download, or view the complete eForm. The PAR row will no longer appear on the My PARs tab. All PAR responses will show on the Submitted eForms tab. Level 1 grant in part or denied responses to medication PARs are sent to the healthcare provider. The provider has the option to request a Level 2 review. Level 2 responses will appear the same way in the Submitted eForms tab. A Level 1 or Level 2 grant in part, or denial that receives a final determination will appear in the Resolve tab. Once a PAR you have responded to receives a final determination due to one of the following reasons. Number 1, the PAR isn't eligible for escalation. Number 2, the provider chooses not to escalate the decision. Or number 3, the board's medical director's office issues a notice of resolution on the PAR. Then the PAR will appear on the Resolve tab. Granted PARs will appear in the Resolve tab at the time of submission. Next, let's navigate the process of a Level 2 reviewer responding to an escalated medication PAR. Medication PARs do not escalate automatically to a Level 2 response. If a medication PAR is denied or granted in part from the Level 1 reviewer, the provider submits an escalation for the medication PAR Level 2 review. The Level 2 reviewer will receive any medication Level 2 requests that are assigned to them from the Workload Administrator in their dashboard. This example shows a bold PAR that has been assigned to a Level 2 reviewer. Prior to responding to a Level 2 request, select the PAR ID link. After selecting the PAR ID link, select Request Details at the top. This section will provide you with the overall L1 Insurer response. You can also expand the Respond Details section to view detailed information, including the Level 1 Insurer response details and the Level 2 escalation reason. Within the PAR Details page, a Level 2 reviewer should navigate to the Documents section to view documents uploaded by the Level 1 reviewer as part of the Level 1 response. If a PAR has been auto-escalated for a Level 2 review and the Level 2 reviewer bases their decision on the document that the Level 1 reviewer uploaded, the Level 2 reviewer will need to download that document from this document sections and re-upload it to their PAR response. This ensures the document is transitioned to eCase as part of the Level 2 response. When expanded, the full details will show to assist you with the Level 1 review. To respond to the medication PAR, you will follow the same process as the Level 1 review. Level 2 reviewers can also request further information needed for their review from the healthcare provider. First, select Actions at the top right of the PAR Details page. When responding, you can see the Level 1 response here as well. Under Insurer Response, select Grant, Grant in Part, or Deny. Remember, a grant without prejudice can only be yes for a Level 1 review if a denial, Freud or Schroy denial, has been filed in the case and the controversy is still pending. However, When a Level 2 reviewer grants a par without prejudice, there will be the reasons of claim controverted and body part/condition not accepted or established. If the reason for granting without prejudice is claim controverted, you will need to complete the additional fields regarding the Freud denial/Schroy denial, just like the Level 1 review. If the reason for granting without prejudice is body part/condition not accepted or established, the Level 2 reviewer will need to enter additional rationale for granting without prejudice in the text field. The onboard training web pages contain full detailed breakdowns of each type of response. The Level 2 review process will be similar to what we reviewed for Level 1. We encourage you to take the time to review the Level 2 section of these instruction pages. To finish today's webinar, we want to highlight the training web pages and other resources available to you. On the onboard webpage, a payer-specific section is available for payers, which includes links to an overview of onboard, training, and resources. The resources section will provide you with videos, previous webinar recordings, fact sheets, and contact information. The training portion will provide you with training documents like today's webinar. This contains everything you need to use for onboard limited release. Phase 2 will add durable medical equipment pars to onboard limited release on April 4th, 2022. Phase 3 will add treatment/testing pars on May 2nd, 2022. Prior to each phase, we will be conducting webinars similar to today's webinar. To receive these updates, make sure you are subscribed to receive notifications. You can subscribe on the board's websites. For general questions about onboard, you can email onboard@wcb.ny.gov. Other questions can be directed to customer service at 877-632-4996. If you have not subscribed, visit the board's website and subscribe to WC notifications so you don't miss any onboard news and updates. Lastly, we encourage you to view the latest onboard instruction pages on the onboard website.